as somebody who's won a number of wars, I can tell you that people don't understand the value of siege, both defensive and offense.
Didn't we?
Defense, you really only win wars if you understand the value of siege and the value of like actually supporting your siege section. Like I'm gonna dive into this one because like this is wildly misunderstood in the game. What's the question?
I want to ask you something because I can't quite remember. Did we have a siege, or like a 50 on 50 where we didn't really use siege that much, but we just basically put like war horns over everything, almost everything, right? Did we do that?
I don't think we did, but there was an idea to do it. But it is a thing you can do because they're not directional; they're AOE in a circle. So, little known facts about siege. So here's the thing about wars. If you're in a defensive fight, wars are all about keeping people off the points, which is why you see explosive turrets used frequently. It's not just because they deal a good amount of damage and they deal damage to multiple people, it's because they throw people. And they can literally throw people off of the points, which can help you win on a defensive fight. Now, the other side of this is offense. Offense actually has better siege. The difference is defense starts with their siege pre-upgraded. And they can't replace their siege once it dies. Offense can replace their siege up to the limit as many times as they want, and they can upgrade it over time. Now, the odds of you using T3 siege equipment on offense are just not going to happen, so because you can win with T1 siege anyways. But here's where people make mistakes in offense. If you're on offense, haste potions are a waste of money, or a waste of the battle points. Most people see their siege group as, oh, here's these 10 people will go off and do their thing, and they'll just keep their turrets up. That's not possible. You don't make enough battle points as siege to actually keep your turrets up by yourself. So what we've done in every war that we've won is everyone buys siege. Absolutely everyone buys siege in on the offense side, because then if I see as I'm running by one of our siege turrets drop and it gets destroyed, plop down a new one. Siege gets in it and they do their own thing again. I'm no worse the wear, but my side is still going to win because we're still dropping firebombs on the point from 10 firebomb turrets. Comparatively to the defensive running, running anything.
And if the other thing is as well with that is if the defensive siege is, wholesale, basically just like spending all of their time dealing with the multiple siege turrets, offensive siege turrets going up all the time, then they're not prioritizing their fire, they're not prioritizing their damage on the point, which gives your guys on the point a lot more breathing room to be able to actually get something done. And if they do have to swap, then you have that ability with so many people having siege to be able to drop down siege and basically eradicate a turret or two or three, right? And when those turrets are gone from the ramparts, they're gone permanently for the whole match.
And like how we normally run siege is, or how we normally run a war is, everybody brings a musket. This is like my go-to strategy. 100% of your team brings a musket. The first 30 seconds of the war, everyone's using muskets and just plinking away at towers and killing off any of their siege that you can. You can kill even if you are not skilled into a musket, you can kill a comical amount of their siege in very, very, very little time. We killed within 40 seconds. We killed 6 siege emplacements in the opening 40 seconds of a war, with the majority of people not being skilled into muskets.
And the other thing is, like, you're not. It's not a case of like you're asking people to, have one of their two main weapons for the majority of the war be a musket. Like, they can bring their normal weapons, but just have a musket in their bag that they have, ready at the start of the actual match. But then, once you've done that first like musket round, like that sort of musket bunch of salvos, to where it's not becoming as effective anymore, then everybody can swap back to their like regular weapons. But like having everybody be able to, when it's required or when it's sort of called upon, to swap to a musket and start putting down a good amount of alpha onto a turret to kill it, it creates a lot of breathing room on the point if you can kind of neutralize turrets that are looking over a particular point that you want to take.
Now, the other thing is, like, from an offensive perspective, you have the most powerful siege in the game. The firebomb launchers are easily the most powerful siege in the entire game, because it doesn't matter how much healing you're receiving, you are going to die unless you have fire resistance. Specifically,
I literally have a set specifically for war that has like fire mitigation
for defense,
specifically for that.
Because it's if one side actually learns their crap, like, it's actually meaningful. It can cause a meaningful impact to the war, especially when you have 10 of them out and you can carpet the entire area in the point and behind the point, making it impossible for any healers to be anywhere nearby to heal the people who are burning to death trying to stay in the point with your guys who aren't affected by friendly fire.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that, but that can be, like, it's not about placing it in the same spot. Spread the fire out so that it's complete toxic ground there. And there's no amount of heals that you can do to counter that.
This is a very good point, because I've also seen this on other streams as well. Like, when people are streaming, offensive attacks on various different things, like getting to that final point and then like not having enough kind of momentum to be able to actually take that point. Like, one of the best like strategies for taking that point is to take out B, the sort of like the doors at B, right? And then just line that door area, like, from left to right in fire turrets, and just carpet bomb that particular, that final point.
I'll do you one better.
Damage.
A, B, and C. You can hit that center point from A, B, and C. You got to bring the turrets a little closer in on the two side points, but they can definitely hit the point through the doors or over the doors as well.
Yeah.
So like you can place them further back and just lob them in.
So I don't see that like as being the default strategy when it comes to that final point. Like, there's been multiple times where I've like watched a stream and just been like, well, why aren't they doing this? Like, it's a clear, obvious strat that like works. So yeah, little tip for you guys there.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. We have given people this recipe to win over and over and over and over again.
3 months. Yeah.
For literally the last 3 months since we took our territory. And we've won a number of wars doing this. And everybody decided, oh no, we couldn't possibly, follow your lead on how this works. I think Redlaf has a copy of the.
Redlaf has one. Yeah.
Mine, unfortunately, mine does not. I don't have a copy of the actual war, but I think Redlaf has it.
Yeah, and I know Redlaf at one point when we were part of Covenant on our server. One of our victories was definitely covered by his stream at some point.
Let me.
We're on Paralis, by the way. I wouldn't consider us to be a high pop. We're a mid pop, I would say, mid to high.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna showcase this because we have it. We have it from Redlaf's perspective. I'm also gonna link his YouTube in the channel here. He's also a Twitch streamer, so feel free to show him some love on Twitch. Yeah. Great guy. We play with him, good amount of the time on our server on Paralysis. But let's. So right off the break, you guys able to hear this?
It's not coming through. The actual stream isn't coming through, but like your voice is coming
front
through.
left.
All right. So notice everybody's dropping Siege right off the break.
All right.
It's a mix.
Right.
Basically, what we're trying to do off the break is get as many Siege equipment out. You can see we've got 10 of 10 out. They don't know what to do. They're confused. They're like, they got to come to us, right? Well, we're not fighting on the point here. Like, we don't care about the point. We care about the Siege. In this time, we've already killed multiple pieces of Siege equipment on their wall.
Which way I'm shooting? Off to the right.
Yeah, like this is the thing. Like when you come out, like they're expecting you to try and rush, right? But the thing is, when you've got half an hour's worth of time, like there's no point rushing a point. Like there's the only situation that you're gonna end up in there is a lot of dead players for not really that much turnaround. Like you're not going to surprise somebody to be by getting to a particular point with haste potions. Like any decent sort of defensive team that is worth like holding any kind of territory at this particular point knows to have particular teams for defensive to defend particular points, and then you have a roaming kind of large group of multiple kind of teams that respond to those groups depending on how much enemy sort of activity is basically barreling towards them. So trying to haste potion a point to be a victory for you at the start of the game is just not going to work. It's very rare that's going to happen.
So something to note here. Notice that we've got all of our Siege up. We've got people trying to get in and out of Siege. We've got them shooting turrets. They're taking out as many as they can. This is like really valuable here. From here, once we take out an acceptable number of them, now it's about taking down our repeaters. And this is where having the entire army buying Siege is important. We're going to start switching out our repeaters for firebombs, because it's no longer about the seat attacking their Siege. It's now about attacking the point. And we're going to take B as one full strategy here. Or one full group, never splitting up. Like there are some strategies that'll work in terms of like splitting and counter rotating and all of that. But I've found that if you keep your entire army together, you're always going to be a little bit better off.
You'll see a giant ballista poking out there. Kill it.
It's about understanding where the power from a defensive standpoint comes from, and your potency as an offensive group, and how potent you can be in terms of getting an objective complete, using your entire army versus using a third or a quarter of your army.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, like there's different
there's already 10 up again.
Different things up. Like as you can see, Redlaf's trying to put down a fire turret, because what we're doing here is now. Now that we've taken out a lot of the defensive Siege, repeaters aren't exactly great for dealing a lot of damage to a lot of players at one time. In actual fact, it is you deal one bit of damage to one person at any one time. So
and those repeaters are focusing the back line. They're focusing the healers. They're focusing the mages. They're making it painful for them to be of assistance, while the fire bombs are hitting the point and making it a lot more painful to be there.
Yeah.
So we took B.
Everybody going to A.
So now, first thing we do, all of the siege equipment comes down. Every last bit of it. Because now it's not optimal. We don't need siege on this point. We need siege over at A where we're attacking. So you take it down, you move over, you reset your siege over on C, or over on A here, giving you siege superiority, effectively. Giving, you know, massive amounts of fire damage, massive amounts of ability to peel off people from the backside. You know.
Yeah, and there's also a potential opportunity as well here to be able to hit some of the, you know, the more, you know, some of the siege that was, you know, not really in range from our initial kind of like, you know, smashing of defensive siege. So that is a potential possibility. But, you know, as you can see, A point is being taken very quickly, and that's no like that's very much in part down to the fact that we have a lot of turrets available to us and a lot of fire launchers specifically.
Yeah. So right now, the call is everybody as we take A, everybody needs to take down their siege. And as they cross by B, you can now buy from the point. And this right here is like the definition of compliance with the orders of a commander in a war. Like, you tell people, hey, I need you to do this. I need everybody to go buy siege equipment from the point at B. And that's like 3/4 of the army is on the point.
The funny thing is, at this point, the defensive team are scrambling to respawn and like, you know, figure out and get to C point. Like, at this particular point, they could, if they were able to, if they had the siege available to them, they could carpet this particular point and get so many kills, but they're not. Then they don't have the siege to do it. Their siege team doesn't have anything to hit that point with, and you know, the people who, you know, could potentially put down fire, you know, sort of the mages and that kind of stuff, are all on, you know, are all respawning and running to C.
So like, this is the definition of just dominance, because we've got them on their back foot already. You can see up on the ramparts, they don't have siege to counter our siege with, so they have to rely on their team pushing into our back line. But their front line is crumbling from all of the fire on field. So, you know, now it's just about keeping them off the point and making it painful for them to be on the point.
I think there's only like maybe one turret up, but like I think that's basically either almost dead, or the, you know, the person that's jumping into it is basically getting like, hit every single time they jump.
Well, and you know, with one turret against 10, you know, like even if you've got a T3 turret, also Redlaf is great with this great axe fire staff combo. He's
yeah, this was awesome back when the Great Axe Fire Staff and the Great Axe sort of Life Staff combo was actually, you know, pretty damn good at that particular point. So now we're already at the ability to, at the point where we're taking down the gates, and we still have 21 minutes to go.
Somebody run through and basically empty out a lot of this.
Now, this is an older war, but this is just the strategy that we use. But you can see them all dying as they try and get back inside, and you know, our firebombs are hitting this area, and it's causing just an immense amount of damage.
All right, everybody in the door. Everybody in the door. Anybody who has,
you know, the strat may be, you know, the fight may be fairly old comparatively, but the strat is still very much viable.
So now the command from here is taking anybody who's got siege still is going to go to B. They're taking down all the stuff from our attack on the point. They're going to B. They're going to replace those siege emplacements so that they can take down the door, but also so that they can fire in on the point through the front door.
that B gate down.
We're gonna skip
What
ahead
you
a little
need
bit here.
Yeah. What you need for that to be successful is you need to be able to control the ramparts.
I'm just gonna go in.
Yes.
Let's not trickle in. Don't trickle in.
We need to make a really big push together, and if you see a turret that's not being used, get rid of it.
Yep, if you see turrets not being used, destroy them.
I mean,
Also, take
Get a
us with
couple
the
of turrets
follows.
up on C,
that's
but both of them
definitely
fire turrets so that we can lob them over the fucking
So you can see that we're just firing, lobbing stuff in there, and prepping all of these so that we can just douse the point with damage. But it gets even funnier because when you get up over here, you can see, hey, there's a turret over here. What a weird placement.
We need to take those repeaters down, guys.
And Redlaf's actually going to replace it.
Back of the point, we need to kill those.
And you can see the back side of the point from here. So now he's, putting fire damage onto the point
Can we push it?
from the side instead of from the front.
He gets a good hit just as he gets out. Like, look at that. Look at all that damage. Like, suddenly coming. Like-
group 2 and group 3.
It's unfortunate that he didn't, fire off a few more rounds and stuff like that. But yeah, he
No, boy.
didn't quite get the point, the damage on the first two shots, but the third one like really hit strong.
Get into the point. Push onto the point. If it's that bad, push straight onto the point.
So you can just see him melting all over the place.
Yeah, 'cause if it's this bad for us,
There's so much AoE going down all over.
we're starting to win.
This is how you
Fire and a good hit.
how you win. Get them on cooldown and then get in on the point.
At this particular point, the point is halfway taken, and it does not look like that's going to change.
Guys, come on, everybody on the point. Unless you're on a turret, get on the point.
Oh my god.
If they're down, we got this.
We got this. Come on.
It's deadly ground. It's deadly ground for any hostiles on that point. And there you are.
Is there a link to the vid? Yeah, I can share the link.
He might be a little bit happy about that one.
Yeah.
And that was what?
Totally
That was
recommend.
15?
Like Redlaf is one of the guys we chat with pretty frequently. Totally recommend his channel. He also runs a our Twitch channel that I highly recommend.
Yeah.
So I know that was a tangent that I wasn't expecting to go on, but so many people misunderstand wars that like there is a comprehensive way of winning. You have to get a group of people that are willing to listen. You have to get a group of people that are willing to follow the plan, and you have to have a plan that thinks about creating toxic ground for your enemy, creating high ground for yourself and defensive ground for yourself, while also keeping your army together. So it's a very unique style.
The thing is, like, and you're not wrong there, Hoochilla. Like, people will get sniped out of cannons and stuff like that. But the thing is, when you have your entire army with a siege cannon of some way, shape, or form, if one gets sniped out, people can get back in. There's like when there's like 10 siege down at any one particular point in time, like always. It's hard to make sure and maintain that like every single person jumping in is getting sniped.
Mm-hmm. And the other side of it is, it's very difficult to get sniped if you don't have a turret to snipe him from, or you're just using your musket. Well, okay, hey, you've also got to deal with a lot of incoming repeater fire that could very well be focused at you. It's a very
a very fluid situation that you have to deal with. Like,
yes.
Obviously, that situation in that particular war that you kind of saw, it could obviously have been dealt with a lot better from a defensive standpoint. But it was one of those things where, that team was clearly expecting, a certain set of events to occur. And when those events didn't occur, like straight away, they were really confused. You know, us not running to B point straight away to try and cap it was confusing to them, because they literally ran out to B point, got to B point, sat there, wondered what the hell was going on, while, you know, we basically nuked a whole bunch of their defensive siege, and then, you know, essentially turned those siege around and onto them.
Yes.